Hey guys, how's it going? It's your boy MKS here, back here with another video. Finally, it's taken me ages. I hope I put the right title in. By the way, this is supposed to be part 4. Sometimes I worry if I forgot in my brain. But it's took me ages as I was like procrastinating and trying to take on too much, type of all these ideas I have before I forget them and things like that. Basically, I think of too many ideas and struggle to decide which ones to work on. But so I suppose it's not probably not laziness. Anyway, I don't know if you could tell, but I'm a bit poorly or ill, whatever word you want to use, and I've been for a couple of days. But again, if you've seen my other videos before, you'll notice I was a bit ill before as well, just before Christmas. So it's not that long ago, about a month ago. So, so I don't know if it's COVID. I didn't really take the test, but anyway, I've been a bit struggling to get the energy to make videos. But I think, but hopefully in February, I'll work on so many of my ideas, all being well. But I was going to say, it's a new month is almost upon us. We are on the eve of a new month already. We are already almost into February, of course. But anyway, this is the fourth and final part of how to help AS Roma to become world class. So I talk about how I'd love for Roma to have so much investment, and how that's important to help the club to become world class, and some of my dilemmas about wanting Roma to have so many great players in every position, as many as possible, really, as many as they can get. And so 1, 2, or even 3, if they're allowed to have a big enough squad by FIFA's rules. And on that note, all done legally, to have the biggest. So the biggest squad they're allowed to, but also having the best possible goalkeeper and even the best possible sub-goalkeeper. And same for defenders, right back, left back, centre backs, centre mids, wingers and strikers. So basically the best possible players they can get in each position, but also at the same time, if they could develop the youth, which I think would be a challenge because it'd be hard to see them get game time, although they could be played in friendlies or in games where maybe the club gets a good lead. They could have those on the bench, and things like that. So I'd love to read and hear your suggestions on such. Read and struggle, hear your suggestions on such. Anyway, here goes. These are ideas number, or ideas, thoughts, and ideas, points, and thoughts, and struggle thoughts number. I'll get there eventually, hopefully. 31 to 40. So I hope you enjoy, and I hope Roma fans all around the world will check out these videos and like and subscribe and that kind of thing. All being well. As I often mention, as I mentioned in parts, I can't remember which one I mentioned it in, probably in all 3 parts now, because I know I'm very repetitive, as I say. But as I mentioned before, if these videos ever do get monetized, I hope to donate as much of that money as possible, and even my own personal money if I could, if I get enough to live on. If I'm in a position to do so, basically, I would love to donate and invest in it, even donate as much as possible to the club. So anyway, here goes. So number 31, I would love to go to visit Rome and share my ideas with Roma. As I often mention, like I'd love to go to Italy itself, just generally as many parts of Italy as possible. As a fan of Italian football, generally, I would love to see all Italian teams do as well as possible. Even like rival teams, even like Lazio, even though Roma and Lazio hate each other. But I'm focusing on Roma because it's like the nickname is the Giallorossi. So the Giallorossi reminds me of the Galacticos, so that's why I love them to have those great players. I'm stuck in 2 minds between them and Genoa because it both begin with J. Not J, sorry, G. Again, hopefully I'll get there in a bit. My eyes look really droopy for some reason. This one actually, but yeah. So sorry. But yeah, so I'd love to go to Rome and discuss my ideas like how to attract investment and coach, get involved in coaching and share my own philosophies, plans and theories and whatnot, and thoughts on what can help Roma to become the best possible team, and that kind of thing. Number 32, I also hope to learn from others as I go along, and like for Roma to discuss those ideas and have open-ended discussions on what could be done to help Roma to become as good as possible and attract that investment, bring in the best possible players, and coach the youth and bring through the youth for club and country. in this case for Roma and the national team to benefit, and hopefully Italian football generally to benefit. Number 33, I was thinking like it would be interesting if I've seen an advert for Invest Gold and invest.gold.com, and also like the financial guru Robert Kiyosaki was talking about, like often talks about like gold and how he thinks that's, well, he puts it, God's money or whatever. If anyone follows Robert Kiyosaki, they might know what I'm referring to. But I was thinking, what if gold companies or companies that deal with gold, diamonds, and silver and all sorts of commodities or whatnot would invest in the club? I would love for, as I was mentioning, parts 1, 2, and 3, as many people as possible, as many companies, organisations, investors, and that kind of thing as possible to invest in the club, which I think is really important. Again, to buy the best possible players and develop the academies. Number 34, hopefully once some invest, and if the club gets more fans around the world, that will increase the brand value, which will encourage more individuals and companies and investors and all those who invest, as many of them as possible, basically, to invest in the club. Again, I hope the club, I mentioned before, I dream that the club will work with FIFA and UEFA to look at football development within the rules. I often say that within the rules, and certainly within international law. Sure, they don't do it corruptly or anything like that. But again, I also mentioned like how migrant and refugee agencies could work with the club and vice versa, so they could talk about how like how they can help people to be involved in football, and in return get that support, hopefully, and hopefully be able to get as much investment as possible, providing that they do like football for good and things like that. I was going to say in the intro, I thought I'd never get around to this video because it's taken me ages to, I don't know if I mentioned that point. But yeah, I also meant to mention that this part 4, as I often do, like this is like what I hope to have achieved in the future. So looking back, number 35, I would love to read from and struggle hear from Roma fans all around the world about like what you would love to see the club achieve, what players you would love to see the club, and that kind of thing. Number 36, I think there are several things which make a great football club, in my opinion. One is the investment nowadays, having lots of money, which helps to attract these sorts of things. I hope to talk about. A second thing is like a great scouting network, so recruitment and things like that, scouts and recruitment to bring in the best possible coaches, managers, players, and those sorts of things. And again, with great investment, you can have great recruitment and that kind of thing as well. And I was going to start with the scouting team, but I think even before that is like investors. Not necessarily in order, but it'd probably be something like this order: investors and that kind of thing, funds, money coming into the club, basically. Then the scouting team, and then possibly the coaching team, coach and the coaching team, and coaching staff. And then it would be the manager, perhaps, which I suppose would be a sole character, but he would work with the owners and things like that. And he would bring in the recruitment and things like that, and that kind of thing. Whereas the coach would do more of the training. And then I think would probably be players, and then maybe even before that, like a director of football, and then a dietitian, perhaps. Then the players, maybe not necessarily in that order, but those are the sort of things. Those are 5, 6, maybe 7 or 8 things that I think makes a great football team. And then I suppose, well, I'll say buying the best possible players, and then investing in the youth and the future and the academies and the marketing and things like that. So those are some of the things that I think makes a great football team. But I'd love to know what other people think as well. Number 37, again, I mentioned before. But looking back, I hope that would have somehow managed to help Italian teams like Roma to network with Celtic and have that partnership, which I dream to have. Number 38, I dream that, as I say, looking back, if I'm looking into the future, I dream that I'll see that Roma will have the best possible players in the future. And again, I'd love to fundraise as much as I can, like invest or even donate my own money and try and encourage others to invest in the club, like fans to donate in the club, and their reward will be feeling good when they win trophies, which is what I dream to see, like Roma winning, and Italian teams, as I say, generally winning in Europe and internationally, but in this case, especially Roma. Number 39. I hope I haven't forgotten any points, but I'd love to be more organised and get my ideas onto paper. And I'd love to travel, as I say, to Italy um, and share my ideas and somehow be able to explain them with my quirky mind. I know I think so differently. Um, and number 40, I dream this will be part of my legacy, as I say, looking back. Hopefully, I'll be able to look back in the future and say I helped Roma to get the best possible players in all possible positions and still manage to somehow develop their youth and bring in some great Italian players, producing the next Messi, Ronaldo, George Best, Pele, and so on and so forth from Italy. So basically, the best possible players to come from Italy to produce the best possible players, and therefore, obviously, the best possible players, as they will come from Italy, hopefully in the future. And also, anyone who supports Italian clubs like Roma, anyone who donates to them, invests in them, helps me to write up my plans and work on my plans, and maybe helps me to travel there and share ideas. Invest in academies, helps them to have spaces and places for sport, football specifically, and things like that, and basically achieve those goals, places and spaces for practicing and playing football. And basically anyone who helps me to benefit Roma or any Italian teams as well, Celtic, I dream to find a way to reward them, hopefully in the best possible way. Maybe they can tell me how I could reward them. For instance, I could share information about their business or organisation or anything they want me to do, perhaps, if I think it's a fair deal. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'm out.